Hey Algebra 1 kids, this is Dr. Callahan. How are you guys doing? Welcome to week 6 Monday. Go ahead and pause the video so you can go ahead and get started with a warm-up log. And you have 3 questions. Question number 1, number 2, and number 3. This is week 6 Monday. Keep in mind that your warm-up log is due on week 9 Friday. It is worth 300 points, so make sure you guys have those boxes filled out. All right, let's go and take a look at the answers. For question number 1, anything greater than 90% is going to be considered as an obtuse triangle. Anything that's equal to 90 is a right angle. Anything that is less than 90 degrees is going to be acute. And lastly, anything that's equal to 180 degrees is always a straight angle. Now let's take a look at question number 3. So looking at this right here, remember this is a review of solving equations. So if your goal is to get the y by itself, you will first subtract the 70 on both sides. That part cancels. Bring down the 2y, so that way you get 110. And then opposite of a times is a divide, so you're going to divide it by 2. So then y is 55. Next one, your goal here is to get x by itself, but take a look at this. X is not by itself. You have 2 x's. So I'm going to move this x over. So I'm going to subtract 5x on both sides of the equation. That cancels. Negative 3x is equal to, bring down the negative 54. We're going to go ahead and divide everything by negative 3. So then x equals a positive 18. Next one we have here is we have the combined like terms. X plus 105 equals 180. Opposite of a positive 105 is a negative 105. Bring down the x. So we have a positive 75. All right, so let's go ahead and get started with today's stuff. Last time I saw you guys, we were working on the following packet. And let's go ahead and go over today's stuff. This is a review. We actually have already gone over this in your blue student notebook. So this is going to be on graphing in standard form. And as you know, standard form is we have ax plus by equals c. And this is the one where we go over the x and y intercept. So we're going to go ahead and go over that one more time. All right, we're going to come over here and take a look at this. So this already is in standard form. My goal is to go ahead and graph this. So looking at this problem right here, for number 1, we are going to essentially, to find the x-intercept, I'm going to go ahead and just cover the y. So if you're looking for the x, cover the y. So then I have 2x equals 10. So opposite of a times is a divide, so that x equals 5. So what is my answer? My answer is going to be 5 for x, 0 for y. So I'm going to graph it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Put a dot right there. Then I'm going to go ahead and take a look at the y-axis or y-intercept. For the y-intercept, I will have to assume that x equals 0. So I'm going to take my pen and just cover it, and then solve for y. So I'm going to divide it by 5 on both sides. So then y equals 2. So my next point is my 0, 2. Now that I have this, I'm going to connect the dots, and this is my line. All right, let's go on to the next one. For number 2, to find the x-intercept, you want to assume y equals 0. So I'm just going to cover the y, divide it by 3 on both sides. So my x is equal to negative 8. So my first point is negative 8, 0. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Then my second part is I want to find the y-intercept. So I'm going to assume that my x is equal to 0. So I'm going to go ahead and take my pen and cover the x. Divided by -4 on both sides. X is equal to a +6. So when I graph this, I go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now that I have this, I'm going to go ahead and draw my line. And this is my graph. Now I want you guys to go ahead and do number 3 on your own. Use what I did for example 1 and 2 as a model. You can also find this guide and note, this packet, under assignments. So make sure you either just copy it down or you print it off. I'm going to have you guys try number 4 as well. And just go ahead and follow the steps exactly what I did for number 1 and 2. All right, let's move on to the next part. Next part says write an equation in standard form that passes through the following points. Okay, so if you're going to write an equation in standard form, you would have to find the formula first in y-intercept form. So I would need to have my slope, and my slope is y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Okay, so let's go ahead and first label everything. x1, y1 for my first point, x2, y2 for my second point. So then when I go ahead and find my slope, it's going to be 0 minus 2 over 8 minus 0, which is a -2 over 8, which is a -1 over 4. That is my slope. To find my y-intercept, I would need to go ahead and use this equation, but I also need to pick a point. For the purpose of this question, I'm going to pick the smallest point. And in that case, it would be 0 and 2 because it has a 0 and it has a 2. It's a small number. So then when I plug this equation into slope-intercept form, I have y, and my y is a 2, equals m. My m is a -1 over 4. My x is a 0 plus b. But lucky for me, this part just cancels. Well, I didn't want to get rid of all of that. So let's see if I can get rid of or get some of it back. There we go. That cancels, and I have 2 equals b. So then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and put y is equal to the slope -1 over 4x plus 2. Well, if I look at my equation, my standard equation has to be ax plus b, y equals c. X and y are on the left side, and my number is going to be on the right side. So what I need to do with this is I'm going to take the x, and I'm going to go ahead and just move it over. So then I will have a +1 over 4x plus y equals 2. Another stipulation of writing in standard form is that you cannot have a fraction. So how do I get rid of a 1 over 4? Well, I can multiply everything just by 4. So my new equation is going to be 4 and 4 cancel, so it's just going to be an x. 4 times y is a 4y. 4 times 2 is an 8. And that is it. This is my answer to this question right here. I'm going to go ahead and have you guys try this one. And try this one. So you're going to try the 2 questions that I'm going to highlight in green. And I'm going to go ahead and go over one more with you guys. Let's go ahead and do this one together. Okay? So once again, I need to find my slope. So 9 minus -2, which is a 9 plus 2. 2 minus 2, which is 11 over 0. Uh-oh. Automatically, this is going to be undefined. So your slope is undefined. There's no slope. And if you think about it, when do I have something that's undefined? What kind of a line is it? Well, if it's going to be a horizontal line, remember the slope is 0. But a vertical line, the slope is undefined. And with a vertical line, if you think about it, if I were to graph this vertical line right here, what would the equation be? The equation will be 1, 2, 3, x equals 3. So notice that we're not focusing anything on the y. I'm specifically just focusing on the x's. Well, that's a weird highlighter. It doesn't even come up, but that's okay. Probably because I'm off the grid, but that's okay. Equals x. So looking at this one here, I'm just going to be focusing on the x values right there. So what is the equation for this? X equals 2. And if you don't believe me, you're like, that's too easy, Callahan. That can't just be my answer. Well, guess what? It is. Because if I were to go ahead and graph this, x equals 2 is right here. Here is my line. These 2 points will be on my line. And let me show you. First one is 2, negative 2. And the next one is 2, 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And as you can see, both of these points are on this line. So indeed, my answer is x equals 2. So it is correct. All right, let's continue with our review. The next thing we talked about was perpendicular and parallel lines. Now, remember the difference of how this works is that perpendicular is always going to create a 90-degree angles, and they are negative reciprocal of each other, whereas parallel lines are going to be exactly the same slopes. So let's try one of these here. It says try these ones and graph them as well. Rewrite the new equations. And it says write the equation or write the line of the line, equation of the line that goes to the point that is perpendicular to the given line. So if it's perpendicular, you know it has to be a negative reciprocal. So let's say, for example, that my slope here is a negative 2 over 5. Then my slope that's perpendicular to the slope, you will have to flip it and then slap a negative sign to it, or an opposite sign. So what's opposite of a negative? It's a positive. And that's exactly what I'm going to do over here to these examples. So in order for me to find the slope, I cannot have standard form. I will have to convert standard form to slope-intercept form. And remember, slope-intercept form is y equals mx plus b. So let's solve for y. That's the first thing that I'm going to do. I'm going to subtract the 3x on both sides. So it becomes a negative 3x. And then I'm going to divide by negative 4 on everything. That cancels. So I have y is equal to a positive 3 over 4x plus 2. So from this, I know that my slope is going to be a 3 over 4. But since my slope is perpendicular to that, it will have to be flipped. And it has to be an opposite sign. So opposite of a positive is a negative. So it'll be a negative 4 over 3. That is a slope that I'm going to be using for my equation. So then what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this point. So there's x and y to put into the equation. Y equals mx plus b. My y is a 3. My slope is a 4 over 3. And my x is a 0. And lucky for me, this part cancels because 0 cancels it out. So then what is your b? B equals 3. And my equation is equal to negative 4 over 3x plus 3. So now I can go ahead and graph this. So I'm going to start off with negative 3. 1, 2, 3. Look at your slope. It's a negative. Go down 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, down 1, 2, 3. I feel like I'm teaching you guys how to dance here. All right, then connect the dots. And that is your line. You go ahead and give this one a try. Take a look what I did on the left. and you follow along on the right. All right, let's go ahead and take a look at this question here as a review. This one says, are these graphs parallel, perpendicular, or neither? And as you guys know, parallel means that they're going to be exactly the same. Perpendicular means that they're negative reciprocals. But before we can do that, let's see if everything is solved for y. For the first equation, it's not, so I will have to divide it by 3 on everything. So y is equal to negative 4 over 3x plus 2. My slope here is a negative 4 over 3. I'm going to compare that with the slope that is in the second equation. And that slope is going to be a negative 3 over 4. So let's see if they're the same. Are they the same? Nope, they're not. So it is not parallel. Are they perpendicular? Well, that's easy to see. If I take this and I flip it over and I put a negative sign to it, what's opposite of a negative will be positive. Is that the same as my second slope? Nope, not perpendicular. So in which case, what is my answer? It is neither. All right, you guys, I hope that helped. I hope to see you guys on Monday, and I hope you guys have a wonderful week. Take care.